Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to another Show Me video movie classroom from Every Movie Has a Lesson. My website, everymoviehasalesson.com, is a movie review website with a teacher slant because, in my mind, every movie can teach a lesson. So we examine the life lessons that can be taught from every movie. It's been a little while since I've gotten on here to do a few of these movie classrooms, so I'm trying to catch up a little bit. That first spot of catch-up takes me to the big hit of this fall, and I owe you guys all a great take, or at least something I can do on video here for Gone Girl. In its fifth week here, it still is playing great at the box office. It's done a fantastic job. It is everything it turned out to be advertised as. David Fincher is one of those directors in my mind that can do no wrong. His resume speaks for itself between Seven, Fight Club, Panic Room, Zodiac, even The Curious Case of Benjamin Button, which I don't mind one bit, The Social Network. In my eyes, he is a guy who just, everything he touches turns into something at least well done and extremely interesting. And you got something here with Gillian Flynn's 2012 bestseller here that is material that is perfectly right for a man of his talents. I have not read the book. I didn't read the book going into the movie, and this movie just sucked me in hook, line, and sinker. I didn't know the twists that were coming. I didn't know the big reveals that were out there. As a movie, I thought from that standpoint, it played extremely well. The people who I've talked to that have read the book said that it's doing a great job being as faithful in an adaptation as it can be to that. And if more proof than anything, you ladies read some fucked up books. I guess I shouldn't. I guess I should be on the edge of my seat for 50 Shades of Grey this coming February because this is a great, twisted, fun little thriller. It's got just every element to it that keeps you guessing, keeps you wondering. Ben Affleck does a great job, but the linchpin of this movie for sure for me is Rosamund Pike. Without her, this movie does not work. I mean, don't get me wrong, Ben Affleck's a big star. He sells the tickets here. But if you don't have that strong wife role to kind of be the counterpoint to where this story is kind of at least trying to point its finger to, you got nothing. Neil Patrick Harris does a nice little small part. Tyler Perry gets away from the Medea character, has a nice little role here. But as all of you have seen, this has become a fantastic success. It won me over very quickly and very easily. It is a 5 out of 5 for me. One of the best movies of the year, one of the best thrillers I've seen in a very long time. Just that good, creepy, slow-building mystery. They just don't make them like this anymore. You know, too often a film like this would just go for the shock value of, more graphic violence and things like that. Don't get me wrong, there's a scene, definitely a scene here of graphic violence. It has some out of this world twist, but it does it in a way that is absorbing and really brings you in terms of, gosh, what can happen next? And like I said, I hadn't read the book, so it had me going. I got some good lessons for this one, so let's hop over to that. All right, lesson number 1 for Gone Girl is plain and simple. Let me kind of touch up where I messed up there. Here we go. For goodness sakes, people, learn about your spouse. So all you guys with new girlfriends or engaged or, a nice steady person, please, dear God, do your homework on what they are, who they are, what they're in. You got the character here, Nick, played by Ben Affleck, who, after some tough years of marriage here, he doesn't know the books she reads, the diary she keeps, the money she spends, the friends she spends time with, the places she kind of carries on. So when he kind of gets those marital trouble things, he's kind of deer in the headlights. He does not know how to deal with this either disappearance or just the different things that happen in the course of the story. But for goodness sakes, people, learn about the people you marry. You're going to be stuck with them one way or another till death do us part. Do your homework. I'm not saying, the craziest of women and the craziest of men can't hide behind a great exterior between courtship and marriage, but my goodness, do your homework. Lesson number 2 is kind of a little bit of a diatribe, which is kind of fun here. Bear with me here. It's the Occam's razor. And I'm getting philosophical here, so bear with me. The Occam's razor phenomenon does not happen in the movies. Let me touch that up here. There we go. Oh, and I switch colors. How about that? Stay with me, folks. That's the fun of live writing here. Happened in the movies. And this is kind of taking a step back and seeing where this story is going, but the whole Occam's razor phenomenon, if you don't know it, is the idea that the simplest answer is usually true. That's the logic of Occam's razor, and it comes up in a lot of different ways. Maybe it kind of, statistically shows up in real life. This is a movie. This is a work of fiction, and this movie and film, based on the novel that Gillian Flynn wrote, is a head spinner of the highest regard. So the idea that the simplest answer is usually true is going to be complete bullshit. Those of you who've seen the movie know what I'm talking about. There is nothing simple in this movie. The most obscure small thing turns into a big deal every chance you can get. Everything is complicated. Nothing is simple, and the questions just never stop. It's a fantastic film for that whole idea. And it just really suits where this film is going. Let's get to lesson 3. Lesson number 3 is... Lesson number 3, a lack of empathy, quote, I kind of use it in a phrase kind of way. A lack of empathy is just the beginning of what makes a sociopath. I'll explain where this is going in a second here. Alright. Make no mistake, this movie starts as a disappearance kind of situation, but as the days and hours get longer with the mystery of where this wife is, it does turn into that idea of where, in fact, is the right and the wrong of where this is going. Everyone's pointing the fingers at Nick, where his every action is being analyzed, and to kind of talk about this lesson maybe goes a little too far in terms of the twist and spoiler territory, but there's a whole menu of characteristics that make someone a sociopath, and one of them that gets brought up into the story is a lack of empathy. Apparently Nick isn't grieving enough that his wife is either gone or dead, so that's kind of that push towards that whole part that was in lesson 2 of the simplest answer is never true. It's never just a lack of empathy. There's more things that make a sociopath than that. I'll repeat what I said again. Everything is complicated, nothing is ever simple, and the questions never stop. That's the fun of where this is going. Lesson number 4 starts to ping towards the social commentary that this movie creates. I mean, with the news media and the kind of the spin of attention that comes towards Nick in this story, the lesson is this: the intense scrutiny placed on the one who is most to blame. What they mean by this is, even if this woman is missing and turns out fine, they're going to blame Nick because he's a bad husband, or if she's dead, they're going to blame Nick because, my goodness, he's the one that killed his wife and did it in such cold-blooded kind of way that wanted to cover it up and try to not necessarily ham it up for the media, but put on a smiling face and all that, and really deceive people. So the intense scrutiny here is kind of the Nick point of view of the story. Every action he has is being analyzed, judged by all kinds of people: friends, family, neighbors, local media, the watching public. Every smile, every gesture, every action, every hint of any kind of smugness or even that lack of empathy we were talking about before just gets spun. And of course, we've all watched the media circus and parade do that. We've seen even little things on Twitter blow up the wrong way, and the things like that, in terms of scrutiny, can turn on a dime. There's a chance in a moment in this movie where Nick can kind of win some public kind of fickle mob kind of criticism back in his favor, and even that kind of can work or don't work. So this is a fascinating little movie to watch a guy really get dissected, rightfully so or wrongfully so, and it's just interesting. The last lesson here is, and for the really good movies you guys have noticed here, I kind of get some extra lesson here, and I think this is the crux of where all of this kind of goes and builds up here is, when fear and disappointment creep into a marriage, when you strip all of this movie away, the media scrutiny, whose point of view or not, or whose motive or not, none of this happens. None of this tailspins until there's that moment where you stop loving each other and fear steps in, or when things stop going well and disappointment sits in. Fear and disappointment are two very powerful things that can snowball very quickly, that can trigger and push people in different directions, maybe fight or flight or different parts of that. But those are two very dangerous emotions to creep into a marriage. It can be the ice in the crack that starts to kind of really break something that's supposed to be very strong. And it can be anything. It can be financial troubles, infidelity, angered feelings, personal differences, outside pressures, jealousy, anything that triggers one or the other spouse to feel fear or disappointment. You could get in a dark place in a hurry, or you can feel trapped in a hurry, or you can have a marriage go down the toilet in a hurry. Those are the elements in play with Gone Girl, and I think that's where it all starts. Now, don't get me wrong, the wonderful yarn of fiction takes it in a juicy, for her, crazy direction other than that, but that's the lesson of where it starts for sure. Alright, folks, that's my take of Gone Girl. I'm going to try to spin out a couple of more of these movie classrooms today. I'm definitely behind. As I've been advertising on my site and on these movie classroom videos here, I've just finished the chance to have press credentials to attend the 50th Chicago International Film Festival. I've seen a whole big slate of movies that I'd love to tell you more about. Some reviews I can post now, some I have to wait for later, because the rules are, being a press person, you have to wait till the movie takes its U.S. release. So I've got some things I'd love to tell you about: November movies like The Imitation Game, or December movies like Wild, or even stuff all the way in February like the last 5 years, but you're going to have to wait. So I'm going to try to creep through the library of things that are to do right here in October. Thanks for listening, everyone.